I understand sometimes that's not best. Okay, great. Woohoo, we're recording. So, so I'm going to just share with you some things that have been important to me in my life and also really important to me as an educator. So before we even get started, I want to take a moment to kind of take care of the basics or get grounded. Well, we technically are starting, but we're starting by taking care of ourselves. So, first, for those of you who like to be really prepared, I'm one of them. Later on in the presentation, I'm going to ask you to do some writing. It is not writing that I'm going to ask you to put into the chat. It's going to be writing that I ask you to do, whether you type on your computer or you like to, do pen and paper. So if you want to make sure you have that, you can. You also might have the opportunity to decorate something, like do a little colored pencils or pens. So if you want to grab that stuff. Also, if you have been sitting in meetings and looking at a screen for a while and you just want to stand up and stretch, you're going to do that. So I'm going to basically give us 3 minutes to take care of our needs. And I put up here like a brain dump. I went to a great training where I loved that the presenter started with like, when you're here, you also are thinking of the 20 other things you have to do. So if you want to just take a moment and put that there, I know you've had this long day and maybe you just left a training and you're thinking, got to follow up on that. So I'm going to stop talking actually now. And I'm going to just say, take 3 minutes to do what you need to do so that we can be fully present and you feel grounded and ready. There we go. That was our time. I turned my camera off and I did some pretty awesome stretching. So today I want to share with you some thinking about our lives and how we just fit it all in. And I just wanted to talk first about to-do lists. I know just a moment ago I did say something about, you could make a to-do list. But even if you didn't do that a moment ago, I think that often when we are, living our lives of both a professional life and our personal life, we often have a lot on our to-do list. And I have this jar here, and it's called the jar of life, and we're going to fill it up with all the things on our to-do list. So it would be really great. I know it says in here to share it in the chat. We actually don't need to do that. Actually, I'd really love to just invite you to take your microphone off for a moment and just call out. And if we interrupt, we'll call out again. But before you do that, before you start calling out, I want to tell you that we are going to look at this jar as a jar of life, and it's the jar that we have to fit everything in, like all the stuff that we do. And we're going to be putting in these little teeny, maybe you've used them before in a fish tank or in an award, some type of award system with your children. Maybe that's what I sometimes do. And every time I hear something, we're going to just put it in this jar because we're going to fit in all our to-dos. So it could be what you need to do this weekend, what you need to do today, what you need to do before next week. It could be, if you don't want to be personal, if you just want to share something you think people might have to do, I want to hear it. And as I hear them, I'm going to fill up this jar. Go for it.
Laundry.
Okay, I put in a few for laundry.
Decide
Gardening.
Gardening. What's
Grading.
for dinner?
Dishes.
Picking up dog poop in the yard.
Yeah, has to happen. Great.
Helping my elderly parent.
Being a grandparent?
No, helping my elderly parent.
Okay, so I'm hearing things about helping family, doing some chores around the house.
Make a reservation for a trip.
Ooh, getting, like, the trip is going to be fun, but getting that reservation and doing all the legwork is a to-do.
Maybe I
Getting
could
my
get a
kids to
reservation for
finish their
dinner.
homework.
Awesome, Jessica. Getting kids to finish homework. Wade, go ahead.
Maybe I could make reservations for dinner, and then that's already decided.
I know. I was thinking when you said make dinner, I thought that's of you because there's like, make sure you have all the food. And I'm seeing some stuff in the chat coming in, like things you have to do, like paint. Some things that other people have shared have been like emails. This morning, I heard a lot of jump rope. I need to do jump rope. I heard a lot of, I need to do grading. I need to do planning. I need to get my oil change. I personally need to pack for a weekend away. Haven't done it. We're leaving 4 o'clock. That's not happening. All that stuff. Feel free to jump in and call out, but I think you get the point. So I have a few more things because there's so much stuff that we do. So I'm just going to fill it all up, my little jar here, with all these to-dos. I know it's really loud. Our life is loud and messy. Move from Queens to Rutland. Queens, New York? I used to live in Astoria.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, Astoria is pretty nice.
I love Astoria.
I've read many Astorias.
So my jar of life is, getting full with all the things that have come to mind that you have mentioned or I have thought about. Everything like the emails, the professional development we need to do, filling out the PD forms, all the stuff that's right here in our face because it's at the forefront of our mind. Now, I just want to think for a second, though, that that isn't really what our life is all about, right? Like those are the things that we have to do. But the other stuff that fills our jar of life is a little bit different. So I have these bigger rocks, though this is a smaller, bigger rock, and it should be huge if we're looking again for the metaphor. But I wrote friends on it. So another thing that's a part of our life jar is our friends, time with friends, laughing with friends, going out to dinner, having game night, chatting, connecting. And the same with family. And not just being around family, but really sitting and listening and being present. And that is a part of our life. And we want to put that in our jar of life. Then I thought about our physical health. That's part of our jar of life, like getting enough sleep and eating some balanced meals. Oh, there it is, balanced meals. So that goes into our jar of life. And then we have like our deep inner self, right? Like what's our faith like, or our spiritual connection, or our hobbies, or our passions, or our physical activity and movement, opportunities to unplug. Those are also part of our jar of life. So I'm got one here and I'm going to put it in. But you can see the problem. My jar of life, I haven't fit everything in. I have too much going on. I couldn't fit everything into my jar of life. So I want to try to see what happens if I put the big stuff in first. If instead of all those to-dos and the things that are right in my mind right now, because they have to happen right now, I put in the stuff that has a long lasting effect on us, like eating well, getting enough sleep, spending quality time with the people that we love, doing the things that fill us with joy, like our passions. So I'm going to dump all this out and try to put it in again. Okay, jar is empty. Now, I am going to prioritize my passions and my physical health and my hobbies. And I'm going to make sure that goes into my jar of life first, along with my quality time with family and friends. And I'm also prioritizing sleep. I'm not staying up to 11 o'clock doing one of those small things. I'm going to sleep, and I'm prioritizing eating a meal that is going to feel good and right for me. And now that I've done that in my jar of life, I have the same amount. I promise you guys, it's the same amount of little pebbles. I'm going to pick them up and I'm going to see if I can fit them in, all the small things now. Shake them a bit to make them really get in there and intertwine. Okay, this is the last handful. And my jar of life is full and nothing is sticking out. It was all able to fit in here. So my analogy with the rocks and the pebbles is that when we prioritize the really big things, sometimes we can fit the smaller things in. I think that is really easier said than done, but I have found that sometimes I'm just way more productive and way more efficient when I am taking care of those needs. And I think of going for a jog or spending time with family, and I say that I'm going to do that, then all those other things sometimes fall into place. Or some of those other small little things like our to-do lists and all the stuff that we think we have to do, sometimes I realize maybe I didn't need to do them. So for me, it's ongoing work. It is not I've reached this place of perfect balance and I'm always here. It's a goal that I work towards on a regular basis. And especially last year and this year, as we're dealing with, still dealing with COVID-19, It was particularly hard for me last year with making in-person lessons and out of school lessons and all the different ways you might have approached the way you had to do hybrid learning, I think put a lot of time and stress on educators. And sometimes I think that our jar will spill. The stuff will fall out and we won't get it all in. And we, instead of like really being harsh on ourselves, maybe we just go back in and we try again. So that said, I do think that there are some strategies that we can try and make those the things that we do first before we do the other stuff that is maybe on our to-do list. So for example, I'm going to share with you some of these like activities that you might want to do and try, like getting humor in your life. But I also first wanted to walk you through one of my favorites, which is just taking a moment to really think about ourselves. And I'm going to, I just realized that I meant to not be presenting the whole time I was doing that jar thing. Oh, well, sorry. Next time. So also good wellness thing. Don't beat yourself up even when you're like, oh, I didn't do it the way I wanted to do it. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to look at these quotes, and I wanted to invite you to write about them. Again, this is a private writing. It's not something I'm going to ask you to share with me or the group. Also, this was that opportunity if you'd prefer to maybe just copy a quote and decorate it. But there are a few different quotes here. I just want you to think about them. And if there's one that resonates with you or a few, just take a moment to write about it or maybe think about it. So again, I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to do this. I'm going to bring us all back together in about 30 seconds. So if you're still writing, if you could wrap that up. And if not, you can always keep writing. Former English teacher doesn't actually tell people to stop writing. So like I said, I wasn't going to ask you to share what you have written, but if anyone did want to talk about a quote, I would love to hear it, and I invite you to let us know what you thought. And I do see Jessica's hand up.
So I really like the quote that says, "Every morning we are born again. What we do today matters most." So those of you who know me know that I start my day at 4 o'clock in the morning with a 5-mile run. And I do that every day to clear my head and to start my day the right way. My husband may not agree by 8 o'clock at night when I'm a monster, but I feel like that's a good way to start your day and to like really clear your head, and you go into work clear-headed and you're just ready to like really start the day and get those endorphins going. So I really like that quote.
Thank you. I know Jessica. I see some inspiring things on Facebook. It's pretty cool habit she has going on there.
Well, I also run because I like to eat, guys. I'm not going to lie.
Food's great. Food is great. Everything in moderation too. Like I here today talking about wellness, and I brought the school I'm in, I brought them cookies. It's like, oh, the wellness person's bringing cookies. Like, yeah, sure. We can do it all. So, anyone else wanted to share? Thanks, Wade. Go ahead.
That bottom corner, sometimes just carrying on is the superhuman achievement. And that feels more true in the past 2 years than certainly any time in my 50 years.
Yeah, I chose that one. Connor.
I really liked the quote by Epictetus. And definitely whenever you study the Stoic philosophy, he's one of the names that keeps coming up. That and Marcus Aurelius, I was reading some of his stuff because he also lived when there was a pandemic going on. And so it felt like some of his teachings about the Stoic philosophy were really applicable to the time we're living in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't know that, so that was really cool to know. Taylor.
Hi. So I liked the quote by Maya Angelou that I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. I liked that one because particularly, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm a special educator at West Rutland. And so while we all have, being a teacher is a struggle in and of itself, and dealing with all the juggling that we do every day. And my job as a special educator is, it's just a little bit different in the sense that I handle a lot of different things than what, a gen ed teacher handles. And so for myself, I get to be on a more like personal level with a lot of the families that I work with, and a lot of the stories that I hear and the information that families confide in me is, it can be very sad. It can be very heartbreaking. And so, and hearing that information does change you, you have a different, view and outlook, but, the second part comes in because I don't want that to change or I don't want that to change the way that I do my job. I want to continue to be like that person for all of my students and their families, and not be weighed down by all the negativity or the bad things that we hear about, and try to move forward with, the positivity and the reasons why I come to work every day.
Taylor, thank you so much. I think that it's hard to always remember like everything you just said, like, this is hard. And I think it's a mindset that, again, it's easy to say and hard to live when we are facing what we are facing. And I think that educators, and I know that I am in this role at this time right now, I am a coach in this SU, but and I hope you will see me as a teacher right alongside you, understanding what you're dealing with. Though my role, I'm learning, I have new different types of things, but particularly when I think about last year, I think that educators were just giving and giving and giving and giving. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, you take care of you. And, I see sometimes people really choosing to make the best of what they have. I'm always inspired by people who are, and through this past year, and what made me choose some of these quotes here that are about gratitude is because of how I've been inspired by other people who are, despite grief and illness and heartache, they're finding something positive. And there's a real difference between gratitude and positive, like toxic positivity, like everything's great, because that's the truth, is not everything's great. But if you can find the joy in the foliage today, or in that first sip of coffee, or in a connection or a laugh, it can be really helpful. And I do think it relates to, I'd like to bring it back to this jar of life, and trying to recognize all the time that it is hard to fit it all in. And one strategy can be gratitude, which is some of the things here, and also recognizing that we are very resilient and that we are working very hard. Did anyone else want to share about a quote? Okay. So I'm trying to talk about some strategies that might help us stay balanced, and there's so many different ones for us. And this is the part where I wanted to give an opportunity for differentiation and different choices. So, there's different things that actually can help us really find balance, right? Some people really love laughter and humor. Some people like movement. Some people like to run at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some people might do some breathing exercises. So I just put a few in here that you can explore. And some of them you can bring to your students. And you don't have this yet. Like, I'm about to give you this presentation. I didn't give it to you ahead of time. One of those teachers, like, keep it close until I'm ready. But there's some additional explorations that I'm inviting you to do. And I do just want to put in a plug for the Path to Wellness program. If you haven't signed up for it, I'd like you to take the rest of this time to do one of these things. And maybe it's just get away from the screen and go for a walk and stretch those legs. But the Path Wellness program, if you want to spend some time exploring that, if you do it, great. Spend some time doing your Healthy Life survey. You get good information. It's totally confidential. If you haven't signed up for it, maybe right now I'm giving you the time to sign up for it. If not, you can check out the other links in here. And again, listen to yourself too. Like, so much of wellness is knowing what you need. So I'm going to take this and put this into the chat. So you have my whole presentation now. And with it, you have the last slide that gives you some links to some additional things that I want to let you do and give you the time to do right now. And then the final slide just reminds you that you do get a PD for participating in Wellness Today. And that link is right in there for you. So, and that's different than the feedback that the coaches are asking for at the end of the day to help us inform our practice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. And if you want to stick around and talk, you can. If you want to go and get started and check out this link that I shared with you or the links within. And also, if there's any problem, just let me know too. Every now and then I mess up and I send like the link that doesn't really give you access. Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, like namaste. This was my presentation for you. And now I want to give you some time to explore the wellness that works for you. But I'll be here if you need me. Yeah, Jessica, I think my husband's packing. It should be scary. You're welcome, Matt. Good to see you. Stay balanced. I'll see you walking the dog. Bye, Lisa. Thanks for coming.
All right. Bye, Sandra.
Bye, Connor. Hey, I hope your year's going well. I know you're new over there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, in terms of a place that has small class sizes and it's a nice welcoming community, I think I did pretty well. I'm pretty happy to be here.
That's really good to hear.
Mhm.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So when I'm in Queens, are there any food places I should hit up while I'm down there?
Well, there was always really good like Greek diners, but so are you from Queens or you're visiting Queens?
I'm originally from here in Rutland County, and then I lived in Brooklyn for 7 years, and then when I got married, I moved in with my wife, and we lived in Queens for 3 years. And then in April, we came to Vermont on vacation, and we didn't go back.
Oh, okay. I see. So that's cool. You've been back and forth between them and different boroughs. Yeah, when I lived in Queens, I didn't have any money to go out. I think I ate beans, because I was working in Manhattan at a theater company barely making any money. So I never went out. I don't have any place to recommend, but when my parents would visit me, that was, I was at that stage where I was really young and my parents would visit and we would go to like around the corner, there was a diner that had, really good Greek stuff.
Restaurants come and go so fast these days. And then sadly, I think many of them closed during COVID.
Yeah, I bet. It's hard. I know so many businesses have closed. It's really sad.
Mhm.
We're heading that way this year as well. Like my family, so I'm originally from Long Island, then I lived for a little while in like Astoria, but my family's from Long Island. My in-laws are on Long Island, so we're going there this weekend. We'll go out to Patchogue.
Oh, I went to to grad school at Adelphi University.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Where exactly is that?
It's in Garden City,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but yeah, definitely had a pretty long relationship with Adelphi because I worked there too. So that was kind of the one thing I would go to Long Island for.
Hmm.
That, and I think I went to Jones Beach one time.
Oh, yeah. So beautiful.
Yeah. But, well, anyway, I should probably get the exit ticket filled out. But it was nice
Yeah.
talking to you, Sandy.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Yeah, I wanted to give people some, I thought, I don't know, wellness. Should I really keep them busy for 50 minutes? I wanted to give you guys time to actually do something. So yeah, please. It's been a long
Maybe
day for you.
Maybe I'll do some push-ups right now. That'll be
Okay.
a wellness thing. Okay.
I love it.
Push-ups, I think, for the least amount of time, I think you get the most back in return, if that makes sense. For the
Mm.
10 seconds worth of exercise, you can get a pretty good workout.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I recently, like this summer, I was trying to do a lot more strength training, particularly for my upper body. And I was doing push-ups, and somebody gave me these like things that you had to hold. So you actually had to stabilize. It was like one small thing that poked into the ground, and you'd kind of keep about
Mhm.
I was also working on my grip strength. So it was pretty cool. It will be helpful. So anyway, push-ups, do them and enjoy them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Sandy.
You're
I'll talk to
welcome.
you later.
Bye. No, it's fine. We were talking about push-ups.